tires. So tonight I have got to change out a front tire on the backhoe. Okay, this is Service Central Mesa AP2. It's a load range E 16235 truck tire. And it has been basically a nightmare. It had a flaw on the inside sidewall, which gave it a pinhole leak. And these were on Dad's Ford for the longest time. And they didn't want to warranty it, and it wouldn't patch. So we figured it'd run fine on the backhoe. Flattened a number of times on him, just randomly, so it kind of depended on where the truck was parked as to whether it would flatten. We figured we could run it on the backhoe because we were running tubes, so that I could fill the tubes with antifreeze, put some weight in the front. But I have now had it blown twice on the backhoe. Both times you find a mystery tube cut high up in the sidewall. So went to the backhoe, found the tire flat. Wish I'd have noted. The whole front of it was parked in the dark, and I was in a hurry, and I just backed it up, and of course didn't notice it was flat till I backed it out. By that point I had sucked the valve stem in, so there was no way for us to inflate it, and I had stuff to do and pallets to move, and I was against the wall, so we did that on the flat tire. So I imagine the tube is trash, but so is the dang tire. It's a problem child, and I'm not going to mess with fixing it again. I'm assuming I've wrecked the tube. I'll check that once I get it off, but I'm assuming the tube is trash, in which case I'm just going to try to mount the tire tubeless. It's an old case rim. I have no idea if it's able to mount it tubeless. I know I got a big core valve stem, and I'm going to put these, well, they're a tread-right recap, but the carcass is a Yokohama Geolander AT, and the carcass on the things are twice as stiff. I mean, look at that. And this isn't even on a rim, and I can't compress it. So I'm hoping it'll work. And at this point, like I said, I'm just going to mount it up tubeless and sort of to hell with it. So the issue with filling a tubeless tire with antifreeze is not that the rim will rust. They don't. Antifreeze has rust inhibitors. That's why it exists. The issue is if you get any small puncture, it's a pain in the ass because you now have emptied the entire tire of antifreeze in order to mess with it. Whereas if it's a tube tire, you can kind of get that out a whole lot easier. Anyways, I'm just going to put it on. I've contemplated other ways to add weight to the front of the backhoe. I really like the idea of filling the tire with steel shot. I don't have that steel shot. I got more than enough lead around here. I could fill it with lead shot, but I mean, think of the toxic nightmare when you go to change it eventually. It's full of powdered lead dust. So that seems like a real bad idea. Shay asked me, could I fill it with rocks, like a rock tumbler? And I thought if I put antifreeze in it, I probably could fill it with rocks. You could fill it halfway with pea gravel on a backhoe, slow-moving backhoe tire. We, however, are just going to mount it up, fill it with antifreeze, and let the cards fall where they may, because I kind of got to get back to work. And here's the issue. So you can see that string of patches. So that was Dad, and well, originally the tire store. And these are flaws that opened up from the inside of the tire. And after doing it twice, you're not going to put your family in a vehicle with tires that are doing that. Now, this side one is one of mine, and that opened up and pinched my tube from the side. You would never want to patch a tire going on the road like that. What exactly took this one out? Again, I'm not entirely sure. When I flex it I don't seem to see anything. There is an odd crease inside the carcass right through there, which is where I think it was put together wrong, maybe. I don't know if you guys can see that forming or not. But yeah, it's a god-awful mess in there. And so is the rim. But I don't see any reason why I can't mount this tubeless. It does appear to be a welded, not riveted rim. I don't see any sign. So there's the weld where the two pieces are put together. I don't see any sign where this wouldn't simply hold tubeless. I know it's not designed to be tubeless. It doesn't have the beads here where the beads would sit for being tubeless. But I thought I'd give it a try. I'll mount it up tubeless and dry. Give it a couple of months and see if it holds. And if it doesn't go flat, then maybe I'll put the antifreeze in it. And that seems like a fine compromise on that. I'm going to clean the tube up, and I found that right there. But did I do that dismounting it? I don't think so, because it would have bent the bottom. Did I do that driving around on it flat? Again, I don't think so, because I think the tube was sitting down in the bottom. Other than that, I'm not quite sure, but you can see the patches in it. Twice now I've patched it in an attempt to try and get it to seal properly. Because they're tire patches on a tube, they've bowed and stretched really bad. Yeah, so I don't know. I have taken the time to scrape and wire brush the rim, although it's flash rusting on me. I'm going to dry it off. I think I'm going to give it a coat of paint. Somebody who painted it last painted right over all the funk and mud and rust in the bottom of it. That didn't help. It really is flash rusting pretty bad. I might have to wire brush it again, but I'll get it dried off and I'll get it painted. And I'm thinking that the sidewalls on these tires are so stiff that it'll probably seal. A tubeless tire seals on some beads right in here on both sides, and a tube rim lacks those. But I'm still going to have this whole flat surface, and I'm going to have that flat surface right there. I might get away with it. If not, then I got to patch the tube and stuff it in there. And if that doesn't work, then maybe I actually have to find backhoe tube type tires to stick on it. But I've gotten away with a tubeless tire on that rim temporarily already once now. So I don't know why I wouldn't get away with it again. Alright, so I gave it a, this has been pretty good stuff. It's actually what I use on the military rims to get them to seal. When I break them down and replace the O-rings, I wire wheel the whole rim till it's bare steel, and I spray this on it, and after that I've never had one leak. So I'll use the last of it on this. You can see I did a very careful job. The backhoe, of course, is a precision machine that deserves quality paintwork. I figure the grass will help reinforce it. But now I'm debating to myself, do I put it on when the paint's wet, something I've done many times, or do I do it properly and wait for it to dry? Ugh. I could just go to bed. On the other hand, I could just be done with it. Choices. Well, like a glove, she mounted right up. No problems at all. No leaks of any kind. And I was able to get the old style big valve stem in it. Like I said, this is that tread right tire, and you know, the tread compound's irrelevant. It's the carcass quality that counts, and it's a load range E 80 psi tire. Now again, it is a tubeless rim with a it is a tubed rim with a tubeless tire on it, so it's missing the little bead ridges or whatnot. So basically the only thing forcing it to seal is tremendous amounts of air pressure. So I got 70 psi in it, which is below its maximum, but on a hot summer day it'll be pretty close. And I think it's going to work fine. I don't have anything in it right now, and the downside of doing it this way is if this tire ever gets low, it's going to pop off the bead. It's just boop, because there's literally nothing that holds it on. But whatever. I need the machine, it's back working. I tell you what though, if you're messing around with tires, go get yourself a tub of the Blackjack tire and tube mounting. Boy, oh boy, when I think of all the years that I messed around with Napa's Ride and mounting tires, man, oh man. There's a thicker one I saw at a heavy truck shop once. It was almost a paste. It was a Red Devil soap, something like that. But it was literally a thick paste, and it was a hot summer day, and it was still a thick paste. And the guy rolled it on like, because we were having trouble getting one of those tires to seat, rolled it on like plumber's putty, and blew that tire right on the rim, and then scraped up all the extra and put it back in the can. I don't know. I tell you right now, you'll love this stuff. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And if you're trying to get away with mounting a tube in a tubeless tire, like I did with that one over there for quite some time, I slathered the entire tube and the inside of the tire with this soap as well, so that, because as you inflate it, the tube is going to want to stick to that rubber, and then it can't flex, and then it stretches in one spot, and it tears. By slathering the whole inside of that tire with this stuff, then that tube just slipped around. Of course, the downside, as we found out, was when it got low, it slipped right out of the hole. But whatever. Geez, I think that'll work fine, and I got 3 more of these if I cut it on a rock. I'm not going to put anything in it at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and wait and see. You know, I know how much air pressure is in it right now, and I'll find out how much air pressure is in it tomorrow morning. And as long as it hasn't lost anything, and one nice stuff about this soap is you just dribble a little water on the outside edge, and it'll bubble real nice if you got a bead problem. But yeah, I think that should have the problem licked. I'll have to come back later and put some antifreeze in the tire so that it weighs the same as the one next to it. These have got a 100-pound rim weight that bolts to the outside of them on both sides, and then they're filled with antifreeze. I'd like to put more on there because it's unsprung weight, right? It's weight that's not being carried by the tractor or its equipment, like say adding weight to the front end is, for instance. But on the other hand, you know, my kingpins already flop around, and it's definitely adding weight to those. But I'll get this, if nothing else, because whenever the front of the tractor lifts up, the one heavy wheel goes clunk. So I'll have to put some antifreeze in this so they at least balance out. Antifreeze or windshield washer fluid, either one will work. I suppose windshield washer fluid is quite a bit cheaper, but I like antifreeze because it's got more rust inhibiting stuff in it, and I don't have to worry about rim issues. But yeah, it's late and it's hot, and as gorgeous as this particular luscious locks might be on the camera, I'm hot and I'm tired and I think I'm going to bed. So I don't know if you learned anything, but if you own one of the machines, I can tell you, you don't need to mess around with going and finding a case tractor tire. You can if you want to. You don't need to.